What up? It's your boy Troy. In this video, you and I are going to break down 3 toxic traits that we do as men to ruin relationships. But the beautiful thing is I'm going to show you how to actually heal these and turn them into a strength for you moving forward with your relationship. One of the things I've been able to do over the years is work with a lot of men. And while working with men, I hear from a lot of women. So these are the 3 things that women say ruin their relationships. Let's break this down and then we can talk about how to fix it. Number 1 is control. Women often feel like men are too controlling in their relationships. They often feel like men are too jealous and their man isolates himself. So control, jealousy, and isolation. Now here's the beautiful thing. On the other side of what we might call these toxic masculine energies, there is an equal and opposite strength of what we'd call healthy masculine energy. And so quite literally, when you learn to heal these things, if you once felt like you were controlling in relationships, you will actually learn to be a leader in a relationship. That's the opposite of control, is you're able to let go and lead the relationship in a healthy and decisive way. A man who often feels like they are jealous in relationships, when they learn to heal this energy, will become supportive and encouraging in relationships. And a man who learns to heal from isolation will become very connected to his community, to his peers, and his family. But let me show you why this takes place and how to get there. Ultimately, what takes place is in life, here's you, this beautiful picture of you. An event takes place, and then what we do as men is we infer the meaning. Infer just simply means to pass through. So it's like you carry on a meaning of something. Then what takes place on the other side is what we'd call the story, is your brain creates this simplified story of what it believes took place. Now this starts in childhood, and it can come from something that you look at now and go, man, that wasn't a big deal, that's very small. But at the time, it was overwhelming for you. That's like the key definition of trauma. If something took place in the moment that was too much for you to understand, too much for you to handle. Quite literally, it could be you going to the grocery store with your parents. You get isolated or separated from them. And then all of a sudden you're lost in this maze that is simply a grocery store. But to you, it feels like the entire world. And when that's taking place, you're creating this narrative that says, the world is not a safe place. And then of course you find their parents and they're in their own arguments, their own stuff, whatever it was. But what we strangely do is we make it about us. We make it all personal. So the reason they couldn't find me is because of something I did. And then you do the same thing later on in life. You have a girlfriend who breaks up with you, or she cheats on you. And again, you make it about you. Well, she broke up with me or cheated on me because I didn't have enough money. I'm not good looking enough. I don't have the right career. I don't have a fancy enough car. I don't have fucking good enough muscles. Whatever it is, it's always just this bullshit. Now, of course, in relationships, you want to extract and learn from them. How can I get better? There's something I did wrong or I fucked up with. I could have done better. More, different, or better is the frame you usually want to look at. More, different, or better. But most of the time, it's simply a story. The stories usually connect to what we'd call a core wound. And those core wounds, again, get created through childhood most often. Those core wounds are things like, I'm not lovable, I'm not enough as a person, I'm too much as a person, or simply, I'm just not perfect. So then you have these core wounds. And then when you experience an event like the girl breaking up with you, you infer the meaning and pass it on as the same thing as a core wound. And you simply stack it on top of this deep core wound that you have. Maybe it came from your parents separating or getting divorced when you were a child and you thought it was about you. Or maybe when your siblings never showed you enough love and you created this story that says, I'm not lovable. So then you experience something in a relationship that isn't ideal. And again, you stack it on to the same story. Then you get this deep, deep wound in the subconscious that says, I'm not lovable. And so then what do? You naturally overcompensate it with these types of qualities and these type of energies. So you try to control your situations. If I just could control this more, she'll never leave me. And then when she goes out with her girlfriends, you get jealous. And then you isolate yourself because nothing is safe. That, my friend, is a very real possibility. It's like anxiety. Anxiety is just something we've given a name to, right? It's an energy that we've labeled. Anxiety is actually energy that needs to be listened to. It's like a knock at the door. It's a part of you going, I'm fucking scared and I need you to listen to me. And so when you finally get quiet enough and listen to that energy, it might say, hey, this girl is really awesome, but I'm afraid she's gonna leave us like the last one because we're not lovable. And I'm gonna show you how to heal that in a second. In fact, I had anxiety so bad at one point that I had what's called agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is where you isolate yourself from the world. You only stay in places that are safe to you. And for me, it was my house. I literally was isolated to my house for years. But what I learned to do is to go into those energies over time, to literally sit with them and start to look at these stories and go, wait a second. You know, my mom did this, or my dad did this, or my ex-girlfriend did that. I thought it was about this. Or when I fucked up and I lost my business, I took it as something that was to be shameful of. But in fact, it was a beautiful experience. It was me stepping out and showing courage and discipline. And you know, that thing that happened with my ex, it was actually about her. She would have done that with anybody else. She did do it with somebody else. And so I started to look at these stories and unpack them for what they were and remind myself that I've always been enough just as I am. That is the first universal test that you must pass. You must understand that you've always been enough exactly how you are. You don't need to add to who you are. If you believe you have to add to who you are, you always feel like you lack. Then you always be looking for something to fill that void. You are enough as you are. That's golden fucking advice right there, so don't miss it. And then, my friend, as you start to heal these energies, you go, you know what? I got me. I'll be okay no matter what. I'm lovable. I am enough. I'm not too much. I'm willing to learn. I'll grow through situations. You either win or you learn to win. There's no such thing as failure or loss. You start to create and change these mental frames. Then all of a sudden this energy just kind of disappears. And someone who used to be controlling now has the ability to lead in a relationship. They can let go, they can allow, they can create space in the relationship. And that is a very healthy thing. And then somebody who used to get jealous goes, hey, she has her own life too. She needs to experience the world. Go out with your friends. Let me know how it goes. You should do more of that. And strangely, that actually makes her way more attracted to you and way less likely to do anything else to you. And then lastly, you go, you know, the world's not a scary place. It is what I make it. And I'm going to make it into something beautiful. I'm going to allow myself to connect with other people. And that's going to give me more textures to life. So my friend, you got this. This is how you look at it. You look at it as events taking place, and then look at the meaning that you've created. What have you inferred or passed on as the meaning from this situation? And start to, over time, change these stories. And that, my friend, will change your life. Now, if you found this helpful, you'll definitely find my best-selling book, Scars, very helpful, because I go into this in detail through my own life, my own experiences, and how I was literally buried with agoraphobia and a lot of other toxic traits, and then came and learned from them, and they became my superpower. So that's what my book is about. It's turning your wounds, your scars into a superpower. Make sure you check that out in the description below. And of course, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it truly means so much. And I appreciate you for it. Until next time, peace.